Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ntaba African Safaris Zoom meeting with Elizabeth Karen and Berit Griffin. We're going to talk about the itinerary, so I'm going to share my screen here shortly. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, welcome, everybody. This is the itinerary for Elizabeth Karen and Berit Griffin. 2023 October Southern Africa Safari Explore. Itinerary departs on the 2nd of October, flying to Johannesburg. Direct flights are out of Delta out of Atlanta and on United out of Newark. It's the most recommended way. Flights generally take about 15 hours out of each, a little bit longer out of Atlanta, but it's direct into Johannesburg rather than an additional connection, which is a wonderful way to travel these days to avoid connections. First night, we'll arrive in Johannesburg and be met by an escort to walk you to the property. This is a city lodge. It's connected right to the Ntaba International Airport. We don't even have to walk outside, so very convenient. Just for a one-night stay, staging to begin the safari itinerary the next day, where we'll walk back to the airport terminal and board our flight to Hoedspruit, which is in the greater Kruger Park area of South Africa, and stay at the Kapama River Lodge, which is actually right across the street from the airport when you arrive in Hoedspruit, so very convenient. Beautiful 5-star property. They went through some renovations over COVID. You'll see if you click on the accommodations link, there's plenty of pictures in there about the property. Absolutely beautiful. They've done a wonderful job on renovations and very excited for you guys to be staying at this property. They have a wonderful spa there, beautiful dining experiences out in the boma or the dining room. Lots to do. Your safari experience is explained in the itinerary, but basically it's 2 game drive safaris a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. So you'll get up about 6 a.m. Actually, these are early morning safaris when the animals are still carousing around from the night activities, riding in a open Land Rover type vehicle, which is, it's like a stadium seating. So there's about 9 seats in the vehicle, and go out for safari for about 3 hours, then come back for a big breakfast and have some leisure time during the day. High tea, usually around 4 o'clock before you depart for your afternoon safari, and you'll be out really until it gets dark. You'll also participate in a night safari where they spotlight in front of the vehicle to search for the nocturnal animals, lions and such that are active at night, hyenas, little chameleons in the tree, anything that's nocturnal that they can shine the spotlight on. So very interesting, very different experience on safari. I think you're going to absolutely love it. This was really my first safari experience when I went to South Africa with Ntaba. That actually tell you a little bit about myself. I traveled as a client back in 2016 with Ntaba with my family and had such an incredible time. Robin actually led the group. Robin's one of the owners of Ntaba African Safaris, and we stayed at another lodge within the Kapama private concession, and just absolutely fabulous. I said, I don't want this experience to end. And he said, well, come work for me. I used to work in travel prior, many years ago, before the internet actually, and had gotten out of it when I got married. And I'm glad to be back in it because this is a destination that was really life-changing for me in this experience. And I'm just thrilled to still be involved with it. So I think you're going to love it as well. So that's your safari experience. I can click on the daily information tab. You guys are probably familiar with managing through this itinerary links here to get to all the information. But here we are. We talked about Johannesburg, and this is detailed information under the daily information tab, which will give you all the details on how we are going to maneuver through this itinerary. One thing I should talk about as well before we get too far in, that no shots are needed for travel to South Africa as far as malaria or yellow fever or anything like that. It's a very easy destination, South Africa and Zimbabwe. No shots are needed. We actually do not recommend that you take the malaria prophylaxis that some of your CDC and type agencies may recommend. It's really not needed. We've been doing this for 20 years. Ntaba have never had an issue with malaria. We'll recommend take some bug spray with DEET, and that's really the protection that we recommend. The malaria prophylaxis, Robin always says, can cause people more concerns and more problems with side effects and such from taking that than the risk you'll have of getting malaria. It's dry season there. There's really not much standing water around. The animals are looking for water, so you really won't have an issue with mosquitoes. So that's all on that. As far as COVID testing goes, there's nothing required for South Africa, no testing, no vaccination checks at all. But when you get into Zimbabwe, as of right now we're 10 months out from your departure, but as of right now, you have to show your vaccination card, which would be requiring 2 shots for Moderna or 1 for Johnson & Johnson to get into Zimbabwe. If you don't have that, they currently require you to have a PCR test 48 hours prior. And we can accommodate that as well from the Safari Lodge, but I don't think that that's going, actually it's from Cape Town. You'll be going to Vic Falls after Cape Town. I don't think that's going to be the case. Hopefully by October, we won't have to worry about that. So enough said on the COVID, and there you go as far as easy entry and travel into South Africa. You guys want to add anything, Elizabeth or Berit? Any questions so far?
Nope, not so far.
Okay. All right, so we talked about the safari experience. Then we will fly from the Greater Kruger Park area into Cape Town International Airport, transfer to the Commodore Hotel, which is on the Victoria and Alfred waterfront. I like to call it, it's kind of like a boardwalk. It's a working harbor. The Victoria and Alfred waterfront is. There's fishing ships that come in, cruise ships sometimes, but you guys are in the right place, staying on the waterfront, the Commodore Hotel. That's where everything happens. All the restaurants, there's other attractions there, shopping, for your evening entertainment. You can safely walk on the waterfront, have your view of Table Mountain in the background, as you can see from some of the pictures here. And you'll enjoy 2 full days of scheduled touring with a private driver guide. That's when you'll meet your private driver guide in Cape Town, who will join the group after your safari experience. Have 2 full days of touring. You go up Table Mountain, see the penguins at Boulders Beach. I believe you have a wine tasting experience. All those items listed in the itinerary will be included with your private driver guide. So wonderful time of year to be in Cape Town. Beautiful, beautiful city. I think you'll be really surprised how, everybody thinks Africa out in the bush and in little villages. It's a beautiful, vibrant, wonderful city, and sitting right on the harbor. It's wonderful experience. So I hope you enjoy that as well. Actually, you'll have 3 days of touring, because I see I forgot you're going to the winelands area of South Africa, which is also about an hour outside of Cape Town. Let me get to that. Here we go. About an hour outside of Cape Town. South Africa is very much known for its wine estates and its wine industry. They're wonderful producers of wine. They have the perfect climate for it, a Mediterranean climate. You'll see the pictures here, the wonderful rolling hills and wine estates up in that area. So private driver guide will take you up there as well. You'll do wine tasting and visit a brandy distillery and see the countryside on your drive up to the winelands. From Cape Town, we will then go back to the airport and fly to Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. There you'll need $30 in cash to pay for your single entry Zimbabwe visa when you arrive. New bills, please. They like their new crisp $20 and $10 bills. So that's just a note to get a little bit of a tip. And it's very easy. You fill out the form and everyone goes through the same line. You take your money, pass through customs and grab your luggage. We'll be on to the Victoria Falls Safari Lodge to check into the waterhole facing room for 2 nights. This lodge is really special. People are always surprised when they get there. We're in town, and Victoria Falls is not a big metropolis. You're in raw Africa area. You'll love this place with its red dirt roads. There's blacktop roads as well, but this is where you get to really feel the small community and the village life, and it is vibrant as well. A big tourist town with the Victoria Falls UNESCO attraction there, but very, very different than Cape Town. So I think you'll enjoy that as well. We have an activity that evening of a 3-course meal on a dinner cruise. This is the vessel here. It's the Malachite vessel. It's a sundowner or sunset cruise on the Zambezi River. You've got a great chance of seeing some animals in the river that evening. Maybe your first sighting of animals in Zimbabwe. Hippos generally can be found in the river. If we're lucky, a herd of elephants may come down for a drink and maybe even swim in the river. Lots of bird life and other animals that you might find along the bank. But if not, if we don't see any animals, we'll hopefully have a very nice clear sunset. We'll get that orange sun setting in the African sky, glistening off the water of the Zambezi. It's just beautiful photo opportunity. And if that doesn't happen as well, we could always count on a wonderful meal on the Malachite. So by its nature, we never know really what's going to happen, but that'll just give you some kind of an idea of things to look for on the Malachite vessel that evening. And the next morning, we'll take a tour of the Victoria Falls. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's the longest falling curtain of water in the world. Now, this is October, so we are more heading into the dry season of Victoria Falls. You can see the falls here in the first picture. It's about a mile long. This is only the first section. This generally does have water all the time, all year round. But up further, when you head your walk up the rainforest path, the water may decrease. So it probably will not have its full curtain of water in October. Again, it's nature. We don't know how much water will be in the falls. The water comes down from the Angola Mountains around the first part of the year. So the February, March, with the rains and the water coming down, April, May, June, July, it's full. You'll have that full curtain of water and a huge mist of rain cloud, of rain droplets from the mist, and just a big cloud floating up. So in order to see the falls, it's actually better in the drier season to get photos and to see the falls, because you don't have that big cloud that you're walking through and getting wet. You'll be usually wearing ponchos and such in the early part of the year. This time of year, depending upon how the rain is blowing, you shouldn't be getting real wet, and you have great photo opportunities of where the falls are. You have the curtain, but just know that it will not be, more than likely will not be the entire length, but still beautiful. You guys will really get the idea of what it's all about. And then dinner or lunch at the Lookout Cafe, which overlooks the Batanka Gorge, and have some opportunities there to participate in some adrenaline activities, like the gorge swing or a zip line that zip lines over the gorge. This real pretty property here. It burned down actually in 2019. It had a fire, so it's totally rebuilt, and they've done a wonderful job. It's come back better than ever. So I really love that as well. And shopping at the small market. These are all the locals. This is a wonderful opportunity to buy the hand carved animal carvings, stone sculptures, leather goods, anything really handmade, arts and crafts and trinkets from the local vendors. So that's a wonderful opportunity as well. Any questions about Zimbabwe, you guys?
I just have a question that I know people are probably wondering if they've looked at a map. The itinerary seems to go up and then down and then up again and then down. Can you explain a little bit about why we have to sort of do that? What the flight patterns are like there?
Yes, we start our itineraries really in Johannesburg. Um, that's the hub. That's where everybody flies into. And when we're including Greater Kruger Park for safari and Cape Town and Victoria Falls, generally, in prior years, there was not a link when we started this between Cape Town and, or excuse me, between Greater Kruger Park and Victoria Falls. There was no flight, believe it or not. And I could never, when I started in this business, I could never believe it. You cannot fly directly into Victoria Falls. You'd have to fly into Zambia, Livingston, Zambia, come across the border. I mean, it was just difficult. And there was one flight. So very difficult. So we would always plan our itineraries to have Greater Kruger Park and Cape Town and Victoria Falls and other Cape Town and Victoria Falls and Greater Kruger Park on either side of Cape Town. Cape Town being the link between the two. So we'd have easy access to flow through the itinerary. Because if you go the other direction, if you go to Greater Kruger Park and then try to get to Victoria Falls, you have one flight, which you'd have to miss your morning safari in order to get to the airport. It's a 2-hour drive from the airport. It's just the flow of the itinerary, basically, and the availability of flights. They have added flights, I'll be happy to say. One more, which now does go into Victoria Falls, but there's only one. So you still have to plan this itinerary and hope the flight's available when the clients are booking. It's just all the flow of the itinerary. So yeah, it does sometimes look like it's going up and down and maybe not in a continuous circle, but it's fine. The flights really are about the same price no matter which direction you go, and we have to fly to each destination no matter how we do it. So
and then what's the longest flight of these inter-Africa flights?
I would say the Cape Town to Victoria Falls, it's about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, not real long, but not drivable, really, any of them. It's 6 hours if you want to drive from Johannesburg to the Greater Kruger Park area. And I have done that with Robin one time. It's a nice drive, but the flying is so much better. You don't want to do that for sure. So yeah, I mean, when you look at this on a map, you're in several different countries, and it's big. Africa is very big. So that's basically the flow through your itinerary, guys. Any other questions?
What if afterwards I decided I wanted to stay on for a few more days? Would I be able to do that?
For sure. We absolutely can have you do that. We're ending in Victoria Falls. There's other countries in that area. There's Namibia and Zambia. You can also do more safari in Zimbabwe. You can get to the Okavango Delta from out in that area, which is in Botswana. So, or in the Chobe area. There's really lots to do from the Victoria Falls area. I was just actually at a travel conference in Botswana. I just got back about a week ago, and all 4 countries came together: Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. It's called Africa's Eden. When those 4 countries, they all come together in the corner, kind of like the 4 corners in the US. So that little spot where they all come together is called Africa's Eden. And all countries and all vendors came together for a conference, and Stella and I were there. We met so many new vendors and have so many wonderful ideas to share with clients and such, and a wonderful opportunity. It's a great area, and this time of year, October is high season, dry season there. The animals are looking for water, so they're very active and coming to the water holes. Lots of activities there as well. So yeah, a great area, and we can certainly look and see what everyone else would be interested in adding on. We've got a limited number of rooms available on this itinerary. As you guys know, Berit is has her payment in, and she's definitely going, she says. So we hope you will join her. Limited number of rooms, so let her know as soon as possible. We'll get some flight information to you guys based on where you're traveling from. Intra-Africa flights, I could talk a little bit about that. We book on Airlink, flying from Joburg to Hoedspruit to Cape Town to Victoria Falls. It really just depends how far in advance that we book. I would say on average, around $800 for intra-Africa flights, $700 to $800. I've seen it go more than that, and I've seen it go less. So the earlier we get to booking those intra-Africa flights, the better. Africa's been busy. It's been a busy destination. We've been busier than ever since COVID has opened up. And I think a lot of the backlog has been pushed to 2023. So yeah, let's get going. Let's get the flights booked and get you guys secured. So in order to secure your spot on this itinerary with Berit, it would require 25% of the land portion. And we'll get to the pricing here. 25% of whichever room type you would want or qualify for, 25% of that would be due for the deposit. Then 4 months prior to departure, 30% of the land, and 2 months prior to departure, the balance is due. And we'll pay that directly into Elizabeth. She has other payment options, or additional payment options. If you want to spread that out a little bit more, she can help you with that. Just talk to Elizabeth about that. She has the registration form and also the terms and condition form that we'll require.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to pay it all at once. I mean, this is a bucket list trip, so it's not cheap, but I think it's a good value.
Absolutely. And the earlier you put in that deposit, the more we can spread that out too. So if you have that money ready, just that smaller portion. And to clarify, Tina, it's 25% for the first payment, and then the additional. So eventually you're paying 55%.
Yes.
And then the last bit is the 45%. Okay, just to make sure. And so I can math that out with you and help you figure out the best way to make payments, whether it's monthly or every other week or something like that. And don't forget, tax season is around the corner, and all that money you're getting back from Uncle Sam we can put it directly towards your vacation. If you're already deposited, you don't have to wait and worry that it might not still be there when it's time to make that middle payment. So I'm happy to help you with that, whether you want to make regular payments or even just pay a chunk when you have the chunk to pay. I can work with that any way you'd like.
Absolutely.
And the best way to contact me is, and I've emailed all of you. So, or if you're watching this in one of my Facebook groups, you know how to contact me, but it's Elizabeth, spelled with a Z, at outlandertravel.com. And I can help you from there.
Very good.
I can't wait.
Yay!
Very good. We hope you guys join her. Again, this was a life-changing trip for me. I love sharing all I know about Africa with everyone. My friends are tired of hearing about it, actually. And it is a very different trip than anything you've probably taken before, and I highly recommend it. So hope you will join us.
What are you waiting for,
Absolutely. Do it now.
Looking forward to talking to you soon.